All right, you're good to go.
Okay. Welcome to this episode of Sexistential Crisis. I am your host, Laura Kay, and today we have a very special guest here with me and Dave who is going to help us decode how dating advice for straight women from a gay man.
I'll do my best.
Randy, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so happy you're here.
Having heard some of Randy's stories, I don't know how this is going to go. Just going to preface that.
This might also be what not to do. But we'll make that determination as we go. All right, I have something very important to mention to our audience. Two things. First, if you're listening to this show, I would like you to press pause right now and go give this show 5 stars in your podcast application. That is really important for discovery for us. And thank you in advance. Second thing, on November 29th, do you know what we're doing? Can you guess?
29th.
Dave, you better put this on your calendar.
I remember that there's something.
I remember.
And
Okay.
Let's see. Calendar. Where are you?
This is obviously a very high priority for Dave. So
Clearly.
I'll tell
the Detroit City Distillery thing with Laura.
Yes.
See?
yeah.
It's there.
Thank you, Dave. We are doing Sexistential Crisis live on November 29th. November 29th, live at Detroit City Distillery in Detroit's Eastern Market. They've invited us in, and I am so excited. We're actually going to be doing live Q&A with the audience. So bring your dating questions. Message me your dating questions on Facebook or on Instagram if you can't be with us in person. This is a free event, and I think it's going to be so awesome. We're going to have some really cool surprises in store. So please join us on November 29th. All right. Moving on, I have some very bizarre news that I need your help decoding. So every week I look at our podcast statistics.
Uh-huh.
And the show is growing. The show is growing slowly but surely. However, over the last month, do you know where our largest audience is in the world? Birch Run.
I saw you mention that. So one of the weird things about how those statistics get tracked, a lot of it comes down to where an ISP's data center happens to be. Like for the longest time, the vast majority of our web traffic showed up from Reston, Virginia. Why? Because that's where AOL's main data center was.
Okay.
And so like for the longest time, anybody who was using AOL,
was going
even
through
locally,
Reston.
The traffic showed as it was going through Reston.
But there's not a data center in Birch Run.
There are several, actually.
Are you serious?
Yeah, there are several ISPs and colo locations up there. That is kind of a weird thing, though. I mean, I don't know. Maybe people are listening while they're, I don't know, buying discounted Nikes.
For people who don't know about Birch Run, how would you guys describe it?
Huge outlet mall and an expo center. And a Meijer with a weird layout.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Like the dairy is right next to like housewares and stuff like that. If you want to buy your bed sheets, you go down one aisle. And then the other side of the aisle is like the milk case.
Okay, that's a little odd.
Yes,
and
it is.
it's like an hour or so north of Detroit, maybe an hour and a half north of Detroit, in a very rural area.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason. Okay, so we think
there's no reason to go there other than to hit the outlet mall.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. If you are in Birch...
There's Tony's.
What is Tony's?
Oh, my God.
That's Frankenmuth, though, isn't it?
No, that's Birch Run. That's right off 75 in Birch Run. It's a little mom-and-pop restaurant where if you order, like, a side of bacon or something, you get a whole pound.
I like
They've
my
got
meat.
Italian steak sandwiches, lots of delicious food.
Tony's is a truck stop, basically. A diner.
I like my truckers.
The pork, like the omelets are like, I don't know what, 87 eggs.
Yeah.
They're ridiculous.
Bigger than your head.
Yeah. It's
for like 99 cents.
Oh
or
yeah.
something?
I'm not. By no means are they using the highest quality of ingredients. I'm quite sure. This isn't like tier 1 bacon, but it's a pound of bacon, and it's a pound of bacon.
Oh my God.
So it's a thing.
Tony's. Okay, well maybe.
So yeah, but no, that'd be. I mean, yeah, if people are listening in Birch Run, hit the Facebook page and reach out for the love of God.
If you are in Birch Run, let us know because we want to know how you found out about the podcast. And if you're not in Birch Run and it's going through your ISP, well, okay, it's going through your ISP. So Dave, I got this really weird message from you about a week ago, and I didn't say anything because I wanted to save it for this show.
Right.
But so I hope you didn't think I was insensitive when you told me you got roofied.
No, not at all.
But I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What happened to you?
Well, so as it turns out, I'm pretty sure I was collateral damage.
my
And
God.
the girl that I was with is the one that actually got roofied. And it was a
And
bar.
how did that happen?
So it's we were doing a live remote for one of our shows over at a bar down here. I mean, I won't name them just because I don't want to. I don't want to cause them problems, and B, they've been phenomenal. Like for what it's worth, I'll start with the good part of this story.
Okay.
They reviewed all their footage. They found the guy. They identified the guy. The guy has been arrested.
You're kidding.
And
Oh,
is
thank
charged
God.
with felony assault, possession of a controlled substance, yada yada yada. So yeah, so that there is a happy ending to the
Wow.
story. So while I grabbed all the gear out of my car and started setting up and stuff, she went over to the bar and sat down by herself. And it's like can almost, especially now with the video, knew when it happened anyway. So as she got her second drink, she left it there and went outside to grab a smoke. Came back, sat back down. I came along shortly thereafter. And she was like, wow, she's like, this drink is really good. You should try this. It's like one of their specialty drinks. And so it's me. I took a big old pull off of it, which in the grand scheme of things is probably for the best because that kept her from getting the full dose. We both...
So how long did it take for it to hit?
all of like 5 minutes.
Whoa, are you
I started
serious?
feeling... Well, and it was one of those things where, like, at first I questioned... Wow, was that... like? Because at this point in time, I'd had a vodka and soda and this drink. The pull off that. So I mean, by no means. I mean, you've seen.
I've
me
seen
drink.
you drink. That
It-
shouldn't do anything.
No. But like then I went over and sat down and started running the show. So it's not like I was up walking around or anything like that. But I still felt off. Like I felt much drunker than I should have been at that point. And we both continued to feel off to the point where went to the ER, got some blood drawn, and both ketamine and Rohypnol were in our systems. And so, like I said, I mean, it's actually for the best that I took a drink of it. She has some heart issues as it is.
Oh my God.
And ketamine can be a very serious thing for somebody like, and I.
It's a horse tranquilizer for
it's
people
a
who aren't
horse
familiar.
tranquilizer, for the love of God.
My roommate used to do it for fun.
Oh yeah, the Special K. They call
Yeah.
it the K hole. It's supposed to be allegedly like very relaxing if you're expecting it and you're doing it
Yeah, but if
voluntarily.
it's being foisted upon you
Yeah.
illegally.
So that was a Friday night. Saturday was a complete and total loss. I mean,
What do you mean by that?
I was lethargic as shit.
Oh my God.
And they did, they pumped a couple bags of fluid because that's really all they can do. Did a couple bags of fluids each. Just trying to get it flushed out of our systems as fast as they could. Saturday I was just lethargic and I was still fuzzy around the edges until, honestly, probably Monday. Even
Whoa.
Sunday I was still a little just not right. And yeah, it's one of those things where, like I said, I mean, I don't want to, and there's a really good reason also to not name the bar is people should be aware that this can happen fucking anywhere.
Anywhere.
And
Never
like,
leave your drink.
I've heard a lot of I've heard a lot of stories. I've read a lot of stories. I've been on the periphery of some of those stories. I've never actually experienced it happening. Or more to the point, had it happen to somebody who was with me. And it's a fucked up situation. I mean, I'm glad the guy was caught. If you're the kind of douchebag that's what you need to resort to try to get, whatever from someone, just kill yourself and take yourself out of the gene pool. And I mean that entirely seriously. That's a shit move. I mean,
It's really low.
Yeah.
It's so low.
Well, and it's hit her a lot harder than it hit me. I mean, she already has some issues with anxiety and that kind of stuff, and this has escalated them.
Of course, right.
And it took her. I mean, she wasn't feeling right until Wednesday. After, and
Oh my
so I
God.
mean, so yeah, people. Just be aware. Know your situations, know your surroundings. If you're going, either finish your drink and then go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
or take your drink with you when you. And that's the worst part is the patio.
Yeah.
She could have brought her drink to, but didn't know that. until she walked out
Well,
there and saw other people with drinks. So
Right. So here's what I always tell women about drinking, because it primarily hits women.
Mhm.
Although I suppose, Randy, it could hit gay men too.
Probably, yeah.
Probably
I don't know of any
does.
stories offhand, but yeah.
I'm sure it does. I never leave my drink unattended. And in fact, I'm so paranoid about it that if I'm on a first date and the first date offers to go up to the bar and buy me a drink, I will go with him and follow him and get the drink from the bartender myself. I don't know. I don't trust. I don't.
it's a weird world
trust-
we live in. I
Yeah.
mean, and you don't know. I mean, the guy looked like a normal dude.
Right, well, they always do, though.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, either a mad scientist or some, creepy To Catch a Predator looking guy.
Right.
It was just a dude, and that was his thing.
Well, right. And I mean, it's similar with sexual assault. I don't know the exact percentage, but the vast majority of sexual assault is perpetrated on women by someone they know.
They know. Yep.
Not by a stranger. And I'm not saying
Well, because you
forget about strangers.
you let your
but
guard down.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how that works.
Yeah. And, well, I'm really glad that you're okay. I also had a situation in Jackson last week. However,
Oh my God, I read that on Facebook and what the hell? Like
Okay.
apparently you were at a key party and didn't know it.
I was at a key party, just to sort of segue this into our gay episode, which I feel like we should talk about key parties, Randy.
I don't know what a key party is.
Oh my God, what are you doing here?
He's such a
What-
baby.
I'm naive.
Let me teach you about the gay lifestyle. I was actually told by a very good friend of mine who is a gay man. He said to me about a decade ago, he said, Laura, you are a gay man trapped in the body of a straight woman. And I think he was absolutely right.
Was he nailing you in the ass at the time, or was?
Randy, you look so displeased. You know, our most popular episode is the Up the Butt episode. I highly
Interesting.
recommend
I mean,
it.
of
yeah.
course it was. That's the one we tell everybody to go listen to.
Oh, great. Oh, thanks. That would explain why. Okay, so no, I'm in Jackson, Michigan, which is the ass crack of Michigan, effectively.
And by a prison.
Is it by a prison?
Yeah.
That's where the state prison is.
Oh, great. Didn't know that. Now feel even more terrified about what happened. And I'm there for a speaking engagement. I get there the night before because it's about an hour and a half from Detroit. I have to be at the venue at 7 in the morning. And I'm like, I'm just going to spend the night.
I'm not leaving at 5 in the morning.
Yeah. I'm not leaving at 5 a.m. And, as a woman, I'm like, I have to get my hair and makeup and all the shit. So, no.
Have to.
Choose to. Want to. I want to be put together. So I stay in Jackson, and I kind of had this feeling I'd have a problem finding a nice hotel. Like, I have a travel budget, but I'm looking at the hotels, and it's like the Super 8s and the Motel 6s.
We'll leave the sheets on for you.
Ugh.
Basically, nothing you would ever want to walk into with a black light.
That's weird, though, because there are a couple of megacorps over there.
There are, but I could not find, maybe it was also like my availability or their availability. I could not find a really nice hotel. So I found instead one that had high ratings, and it was like 4.5 stars or something. And I'm like, okay, great. Let's go to this place. Chain. That's fine. I show up, and I had checked in on the app, and I show up at the hotel and the front reception desk. There's no computer. There's just keys everywhere. And they're associated with, the card that they put the key in normally that have reservation slips in them. And
I mean, there's a Holiday Inn Express and suites out there. Those are usually relatively safe.
yeah, where do you think I was?
But wait, there's more. Oh, yeah, it's.
I was at like the Fairfield Inn and Suites or something, which is now going to go under from the 4 people listening to this. But
Go ahead. I'm just
Okay,
scrolling down
you're
trying
just
to
scrolling.
find that listing.
so there's keys everywhere with like these reservation slips sort of like thrown in, and I give her my name, and she's like looking through this mess on the table, and she's like, well, I can't find you in here. And I'm like, well, I checked in, so I know I have a room. And she's like, okay, take this one. And I'm like, okay. So
Wow.
Sure.
So I take it, and I'm carrying all this shit with me for one night, which is stupid. And I walk into the room, and I put the key in, and it won't. It keeps flashing red. Like it won't go. And
yeah.
Like
it's not unlocking the door, and it's
Right.
Yeah. And
But
you
after-
inevitably that always happens to me when I am furthest away. Like if I've had to walk down a hallway
a half
and then
mile,
down
yes.
another hallway, and it's like the last door on the left. That's when the key card doesn't work. It's never. It's like if I'm staying in a room right by the elevator, that never happens.
Well, I'm very persistent, so I just keep trying to
Right.
do this, and the 7th time it finally flashes green, I open the door, I walk in, I see a pair of sneakers and a pair of pants on top of them, and someone in the bathroom.
Why does the front desk even have a key for a room that's occupied?
I don't know,
Um,
but a fully occupied room with a person in it using the bathroom. I mean, first of all, if that were me, that would be like my worst nightmare. To think you're in your hotel room, minding your business.
this is my space.
This is my space.
Temporary, but it's my space.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see this. I'm like, oh my God, shut the door, and I run back to the front desk, and I'm like, that room is occupied, and she's like, and by the time I've come back, now the keys are in more of a jumble on the table with the reservation slips everywhere, and I mean everywhere, nothing is associated with anything, and she's like, I don't know what room you're in. Here, try this. She gives me another key. So I go to this room, and this time I knock on the door. I'm opening it. Hello?
Housekeeping.
Is anyone here? And the room's empty. So I'm like, great. I put my stuff down, but I'm so paranoid, and I'm really shaken by what's happened.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping that as soon as the door closed, you engaged every lock
I
and
engaged
pad and everything on the door.
every lock
Yeah.
I possibly could. The deadbolt, the other thing on the door that you
The little thingamabob.
Thingamabob
that lets
on
it
the
open 3 inches.
Right.
Yeah.
all that, and I am getting ready to give this presentation the next day. So I'm just I'm like, great, peace and quiet. Let me work on my thing. And about an hour and a half goes by, and I hear the deadbolt on the door unlock, which you would have to have a key to do, like a physical key, right?
Actually, I don't.
No, I think the key card.
Yeah, the key card
For
on
the
does those.
deadbolt?
Yes, because there's no at least with the hotels that I've been in, there's no external thing for that deadbolt. They're usually controlled by the same maglock.
Well, I don't know. I heard the door.
So needless to say,
and then I hear the door try to be opened repeatedly, but that little thingy is preventing whoever it is from coming in. You could describe that as a complete shit show.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
So did you scream? How tweaked were you?
I was
or were
like-
you in shock?
I was like, "What the fuck?"
And
is
really,
this-
should you have been in shock given what had happened originally?
I'm like, of course. I'm like, I can't believe this. And I hear this person outside saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and then they presumably go back to the front desk and are like, "Hi."
Hey, that room's occupied.
You
Just
keep
a chain reaction.
They're like, "Oh, okay. I guess 118 is taken. Let's try another key." So,
See, I almost feel like that's
Again, why multiple keys for the room?
I don't know.
But so here's what I wonder. So I remember this happened to me when I had a Honda Accord way back when I was living in DC. And I wound up, I was at a mall and I'd done some shopping. I'd stopped at the bar and had a couple drinks and I was getting back. And then when I got back, my car was where it was supposed to be. And this is, back in the old days when you had to use a key to unlock your door. And so, I unlock the door and I get in and I throw my bags in the back and I get in and I sit down and I throw and I put the ignition key in and it's not turning. And I'm like, what in the ever living hell? And then I start looking around and it's not my car.
Oh my God.
It looks like it's the same exterior, white Honda Accords friggin' everywhere. My car was right next to it. And I'm like, holy shit. And so I gather up all my crap and close the door and relock the door and I call the dealership and I'm like, what's
going
the
on?
fuck? And the guy's like, oh, well, there's really only 32 different combinations for door locks that we use, but there's 1 million and something for ignition, system. So that's why your door key would work, but the ignition wouldn't work.
My God.
And I'm like,
scary.
that's not very comforting to know at all. But I wonder if like the hotel had the same kind of situation going, where maybe there was only like 30 codes to doors in the entire hotel, and random cards would just open random doors.
Yeah, I guess especially since you said there was no computer there.
There was no
so they
computer,
couldn't
or I didn't see
reprogram
it.
them.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing. So I left because I was like, I need to go get a drink. I left, and there's like 3 things in Jackson, and one of them is a really big Target. There's also a Red Lobster. And so I was like, I went to Target. I got
Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Oh, I think Endless Shrimp is going on right now.
I have never been to Red Lobster. Guys. I haven't.
Why?
I just
Do you have a
I've never-
shellfish allergy?
No, I've just never been. Okay. Anyway,
So much to teach you.
yeah, there's a lot. You got your work cut out for me, Dave. I go to Target, I get a bottle of wine. I come back and I see the same woman at the front desk, and I notice her follow me to see what room I'm going into. I couldn't believe
God.
it. It was so crazy. It was so
Like,
creepy.
did you ask her why?
I knew why. I knew because she had no fucking clue who was in what room. And I was just like, this can't happen again. So I immediately called this guy that I was seeing. And I was like, I know you're in Detroit, but can you please come to Jackson, Michigan?
Wow.
And he did.
I mean, under the right circumstances, I could see.
Come on. You know it's going to be worth it.
I was going to say, yeah.
It's gonna be
Knowing
worth
what's
it.
on the other end of that ride, which would be another ride.
Several rides later.
I'm hoping you complained to corporate.
Oh, I did. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they
is,
are well
Is there
aware.
a corporate for Fairfield Inn? Like that just sounds
They're
like a local
Marriott.
thing. Oh, are they?
Oh, yeah. They're Marriott.
Oh.
So, not anyway. That was
Womp
my
womp.
trip to Jackson. Okay, so finally, let's get on to what we're supposed to talk about today, which is a gay man's advice for a straight woman. And here's why. So there is some research that shows that straight women trust gay men more when receiving dating advice than they would trust straight women or straight men. And here's why. It says because gay men lack motives to mate with women or to compete with them for mates, and that enhances a woman's trust in gay men.
That's not always true.
Really?
Sometimes gay guys are going after the same guys that women are going after.
No, they're not going after the women, though.
But
No,
wait,
but they'd be
read
going
that
after
again.
the guy. Gay men's lack of motives to mate with women or to compete with them for mates.
See? And sometimes that competition is there.
But most of the time it's not.
True.
And women also feel like the guy's not trying to get in their pants, right? So like often when you're talking to straight men, you're like, okay, well, what really do you want? As I've said.
That's why I had a friend that pretended to be gay for like, I don't know, a semester of college.
Are you
'Cause-
serious?
Oh, absolutely. Because, yeah.
So
Because all the girls just wanted to change him. They wanted to convert him.
because he'd be so great as
Right. If you were just a straight guy.
if you were just
Oh,
straight
yeah,
but
so-
gay.
Oh, well, sure. Let's try sex. Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah.
Randy, will you tell us some of your dating stories?
Sure. I have some of those.
And what okay, and then you tell them and then we'll figure out what we can glean from them.
So, first date, we went to a movie.
How'd you meet?
I want to say that was OK Cupid.
You went to a movie on a first date?
What else are you supposed to do?
Talk to them? Okay, I guess gay men don't talk. Okay.
And then we did. No, we did dinner first and then the movie. So yeah, we talked first. We had dinner.
Okay.
And then we went to a movie.
Okay.
And then the second date was a week later, which happened to be Valentine's Day. So we decided to go out on a double date with my roommate and his girlfriend at the time. And then we split up. We went back to his place. And then, then we had sex. And then the third date, I think, was another movie. And then when it was time for the fourth date, he called me like 10 minutes before he was supposed to be at my place, and he lives like 20-30 minutes away, and said it wasn't going to work out, and then blocking my number. We're Facebook friends again, but it was a couple years. Yeah.
So curious. Question. My question number one. Second date, Valentine's Day.
Yes.
That
was unintentional.
It seems like an odd.
It was just timing coincidence.
Did you not know it was Valentine's Day?
I did. It was just that it wasn't intended to be like a Valentine's date.
Right.
Well,
It just happened to, we needed to go on another date, and it happened to be Valentine's Day.
In your defense, I just went on a date on Saturday. I didn't realize it was Sweetest Day.
That's because that
That's
doesn't
not a thing.
actually exist.
That's not a thing. Okay, because I realized like Sunday, I'm like, what? Sweetest Day?
Yeah, when steak and blowjob day becomes a thing, Sweetest Day can be a thing. Yeah.
Okay, so what other questions do you have? So Randy, what is the deal with this story?
I have no idea. I haven't talked to him about it since we became Facebook friends, but yeah, it was bad. Like, I had dinner ready to go, and then he didn't show up, so I just chugged a bottle of wine and watched movies.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess the important, going with the theme that you're trying to lay out here.
But I'm trying to figure out what is the advice?
No. So like, what would be your takeaway from that? Like, what? Let's review the game tape. Like,
I don't know. We had a lot in common interests.
See, and the funny thing is, we can't get him to shut up on our show.
He doesn't want to talk.
No, I'm just thinking about it more than I should. We had a lot of common interests. We played a lot of board games. He was in tech.
Was the sex good?
I thought so, but it was also my first time, technically. So
it was your first time having sex.
Well,
that kind of sex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of sex was this? Anal?
It was just oral.
Okay.
And we did it again the third time we were together.
Okay.
So it seemed fine.
It was just oral. Thanks, Bill Clinton.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
I was raised in that era, and I still don't consider oral sex because of that whole Bill Clinton thing. I know many people disagree with me, and I'm probably wrong, but
yeah, I think
for sure
oral sex is sex.
Yeah, well, so does everyone else, but me.
Yeah. So
okay.
yeah, I don't know what the takeaway from that is.
Well, I guess so. Let's take a big Mother May I step back, because that's what I tend to do with this stuff. Based on your own knowledge, what you know, dating life in the gay world versus dating life in the straight world, differences, similarities. Are expectations different? Because there's like straight dating. It's usually a 3-date rule.
Yes,
generally. By the third date, that's when things are going to happen or
well,
not.
generally, but I mean, it's not a hard and fast
There's also one
rule.
night stands, and
there's also people who wait like 5 or 6 dates.
Yeah.
Or I don't know till marriage.
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah. I mean, what do you see from the outside looking in?
I would say that there's definitely an issue with when you come out. Like, I've only been out for probably 6 years or so. So I didn't really date in school or things like that. So I don't really know what dating is supposed to be like. I'm starting later. So the rough early dates are still the ones I'm currently having.
Did you ever date women?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Like, I had a lot of female friends, but nothing really was a date, I would say.
Okay. So you're actually figuring it out. So really what this show is about is giving you dating advice. This is about a straight woman giving a gay man dating advice.
I don't know. I mean, it can be mutual reciprocal benefits.
What about, what do you feel about one-night stands?
They're fine.
Do you feel emotionally invested? Or what's going on?
Depends on if you're in the mood for a one-night stand or if you want something else. If you want a relationship, then you probably shouldn't do a one-night stand. But sometimes you just are horny and
you just want to get
you just want some.
I feel like we've had that conversation before on the show where, sometimes, typically, I'll just put that typically. Like a girl will hop in bed with a guy thinking that's how she's going to land him
Right.
for a relationship.
Yeah.
When in the guy's, like, and again, sometimes in the guy's mind, oh, that was easy. I don't have to work at this.
Right. And
All right.
I mean, I do think you need to make guys work a little bit before you have sex. with them.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's your point of view?
Episode 15. Dave and I are on the longest date ever.
Yeah,
Dave
no,
is
I think,
working for it.
This entire show is foreplay. That's all it is.
I think the entire premise is completely different. One night stand versus trying to find a date.
Yeah.
Like,
I actually
different
tend to agree.
mindset, different goals, different methods of seeking it out. Even I would say.
I kind of feel like oddly, I have very few first dates where I don't drink.
Mhm.
But on the dates where we've just gone out for coffee or something,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm way more discerning and smarter about the judgment calls that I make, rather than like going on a first date and sort of like ending out in like a wild makeout session with someone and I'm like, I just met this person. Do I even like them? Like, and I'm trying
Sure.
to date.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, do I even like them? Why are their lips on me?
yeah. And I would say like kissing is fine or something like that, but going all the way having sex is not something that would generally happen on a first date with me.
Yeah.
I don't know. And as far as like a coffee date or something like that, I've done a few of those and they didn't go far at all. They were
Really?
awkward and we're just sitting and talking forever. You don't get to see any interactions or anything like that.
So what are you looking for on a date then? Because I sit and talk for hours. Like my dates, I'm not even kidding. My dates are like 4 to 6 hours long.
I
All
want
my
to
first dates.
see personality,
Okay.
not hear about it.
So you want to talk maybe a little and then go do something.
Yes.
What?
Even just, the dinner and the movie, so you can see how they react to movies, interact with people at like the snack counter.
Okay.